fresh sausage for Christmas is very appealing to me.
This is a story of food, family, and tradition.
Threads behind that little plastic, but it was about 1.5 inches in the, on the front. So when I let it down,
it filled up.
If you put half a quart in there, you're probably good.
Yeah.
Making venison sausage in the wintertime has been a tradition in my family for as long as I can remember. It starts in the kitchen, with washing the casings and weighing the meat.
This says it's 6 pounds, 4 ounces.
And what does it say on
6 pounds, 2 ounces. That's close enough.
yeah, because we used it for about 60 years.
Go back to your washing.
The seasoning is a simple mix of garlic, salt, and pepper. These measurements are based on 100 pounds of meat. Adjust accordingly. The actual making of the sausage happens in the garage.
Really to go on top of that old table just for service, so it's not strong. Let's see if Joe has any too much. I might have to run and get some.
This, in my opinion, is when the real fun begins.
Where's your pork at?
Porky,
We're at a pork!
Pitcher,
Oh my god, a pitcher of pork!
We always grind the sausage in my grandpa's garage. This is why sausage making always takes place in the winter. We have to make sure that it's cold enough outside to keep the meat good throughout the entire process. Once all the meat is ground, we spread it out flat and use our fingertips to poke holes where we will pour in the seasoning. It's an eternal debate in my extended family as to whether you season the meat before or after grinding. For my dad, his brothers, and my grandpa, the answer is to always season after grinding. It is, of course, very important to incorporate the seasoning well. After the seasoning is done, you grab a handful of meat and bring it to the kitchen so it can be cooked into samples. Cooking samples is an important part of the sausage making process because it allows you to check to make sure you've gotten the seasoning right, and it gives you a chance to make adjustments to the seasoning if you haven't. Now we start the stuffing. The casings that you see my Uncle Robert holding here are actually pig intestines, and they're quite a chore to prepare. You can see the importance of the seasoning debate on my grandpa's hat. Make sure the seasoning is perfect. Usually you'd want to do this before you started stuffing, but we did things a little out of order this time. Smells like sausage. We only make sausage once in the wintertime, so it has to be enough to last us throughout the year. We smoke the sausage overnight in the smokehouse that my grandpa built. We use mesquite wood to smoke our sausage. According to my dad, we use mesquite because it's abundant in South Texas. It was introduced to the area unknowingly by Spanish explorers and settlers in the early days, by their livestock eating the legumes and spreading it through their droppings. It's considered like a weed because of its aggressive growth and has to be cut down to control it. Day 2 involves vacuum sealing the smoked sausage. off last year's batch before you start eating this year's. Back when I was little, we would just wrap it in butcher paper, but now that we have a vacuum sealer, we can keep the sausage fresher for longer. The whole vacuum sealing process always takes place on this table in my grandparents' dining room. And sausage making is always a family affair. It's a family affair because it always takes place in my grandparents' house, the house that my dad grew up in. And the meat always comes from the hunting trips that the men in my family go on each year.